So like I said, Rachel, thank you so much for agreeing to do this testimonial for me. Yeah, you've been on such a journey and have come such a long way. So I'm really excited to be able to share it with others. If we dive straight into the first question, what were your biggest challenges and frustrations before we started working together?
So I think my biggest challenges and frustrations were that I was always sort of thinking about food, not knowing what the right things were, not knowing, feeling guilty about what I was doing, feeling I needed to earn my food, um, constantly worrying about weight gain and all of this, and then having physical symptoms like fatigue. My skin wasn't great. I had a fair bit of hair growth, like facial hair growth and things as well. Um, and then what sort of put it into perspective is when then I went through my cancer diagnosis, I found that my coping mechanisms weren't coping mechanisms, and I didn't know how to manage my symptoms at all. Really, I just been sort of getting by with doing the bare minimum, or say over exercising, skipping meals, and all of those sorts of things. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Yeah, and it's having PCOS can be such a minefield, right? Because the information out there is so confusing and contradictory. Um, and it does feel like you have to take extreme measures, like you say, over exercising and skipping meals, but that is just not sustainable.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so it's been a journey for you, but I'm really glad that you've come to this where you're no longer exercising as punishment or to
Mhm.
kind of deserve the food. So yeah, it's been amazing to see you come so far on that journey.
Yeah.
Um, and what would you say you've enjoyed most about working with me in helping you overcome your PCOS, but also overcome how you were managing your PCOS before?
I think the main difference, the thing I've enjoyed the most is that it's been the first time I've looked at managing this without a sort of critical lens. So, as you say, there's a lot of stuff online and a lot of these things about how all you need to do is just exercise more and eat less. That's all you need to do to manage things and lose weight, etc. Whereas doing it this way, it's taking that criticism and judgment out of it and looking at it as it's a complex syndrome that has a lot of different problems, and taking that diet culture out of it and just looking at it sort of factually and what we can do to help, and looking at positive things that we can do to change rather than negatives that you're doing wrong. And it's never been critical or judgmental at all. Really, it's always been a positive, constructive exercise.
Yeah, and that advice around just eat less and move more is
Mhm.
so damaging because then suddenly the onus is on you. It's you who can't eat
Yeah,
less and move more, and it leaves you with that feeling of I'm not disciplined enough. I don't have the willpower.
yeah, exactly. Or you do eat less and move more, and it doesn't work. And then people are like, "Well, it's because you're not doing it well enough." And it's like, "Well, no, I am, but or it does work, and you're now exceptionally tired, and your skin's worse, and you feel rubbish, and all of those things, really."
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Rachel, before we started working together, you said your ways of managing your PCOS were over exercising, skipping meals, and very much that kind of diet culture, those restrictive behaviors. How would you say that's different now?
So I definitely my way of viewing these things has changed completely. So I wouldn't ever like skip a meal now. I understand that what I'm eating is actually fueling me and helping me to be more of, say productive person, but just helping me to function. Um, so, and I know that if I miss these things, it's just gonna cause me to crash later and feel worse. And it's also, my relationship with exercise has changed and focused more on doing gentler exercise and doing the same exercise I was doing before, but either doing less of it or doing appropriate amounts and doing it when I want to do it rather than because I've eaten too much or whatever the reason may have been beforehand. Um, so generally just feel happier in going about life without this constant criticism, self-criticism saying that you need to be doing this or you shouldn't eat that meal because you ate too much earlier or all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So a far more positive relationship
Mm.
with not just food, but also exercise. And I'd love to just kind of point out here, you mentioned that, you know, doing gentler exercise, but you're also still able to do the other forms of exercise that you love, like your spinning and your HIIT sessions.
Yeah.
You really enjoy those. And I think there's a serious misconception that because you have PCOS, you can no longer do those things. And that's not necessarily true. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight there that you're still doing those things because you enjoy doing them, but adjusting them slightly to make sure that they're not contributing towards your PCOS and they're actually helping you see positive change and improve your PCOS.
Yeah, no, exactly, definitely.
Good. And what would you say is possible for you now that wasn't possible before?
I think the sort of freedom I feel around my sort of diet and what I'm eating feels a lot better. So I can go out and enjoy a meal out and either, you know, depending on what's going on, either be able to make a choice that feels sort of relatively balanced and healthy, or if it's not a balanced and healthy meal, just not feeling guilty about it and being able to enjoy that for what it is and then put it to the side and move on and carry on with the rest of the week that will be a balanced and a normal time. um, and to just generally feel more happy and sort of confident in myself that I know that I am living the sort of the healthier lifestyle that's working for me, and that this is a good way to carry on and not be weighed down by all these sort of diet culture ideas and all of this self criticism that would have been there before.
Yeah. And Rachel, something you said earlier really struck a chord with me. It was around not having the confidence or not wanting to go out and enjoy a meal at a restaurant or not wanting someone else to cook a meal for you because you were worried about the, you know, like you say, the amount of oil they were using or what other ingredients were going into that meal and the impact that that would then have on your weight or your PCOS. And now you've moved to the space where actually you feel quite comfortable in those situations.
Yeah, definitely. I feel a lot more comfortable in it because I think before it would have been like, oh no, with it, for example, someone cooking for me is like, I don't know how much, I don't know how many calories are in that because I don't know what oil they've used, I don't know this and that, or that's gonna set me back the whole day, or I need to restrict or do whatever in my other meals, or I need to make sure I go and do some really hard exercise now. So then if it is a higher calorie meal, then it's okay. Whereas now it's just nice to have someone cooking food for me. And yeah, if it's a higher calorie or a more calorie dense meal, then that's fine. It's not the end of the world and it's not really going to have any gross impact because I'm so confident in the rest of my diet and what I'm eating and everything I know is balanced and is the right things for me, that say having these not episodes, the things that don't fit in with it are fine and they're enjoyable and they're nice.
Absolutely right. And so liberating to be able to have the confidence to go to a restaurant and enjoy the meal instead of sitting there feeling anxious about, like you say, how many calories, what impact this is going to have on your overall progress. Because ultimately it's about that 80-20 approach where if 80% of the time you're making choices that are really nourishing and really benefiting you, then you have that flexibility to enjoy those meals and have that freedom around food. So yeah, I love hearing when clients get to that point where they feel comfortable with all types of meals. So that's a huge win from my perspective. And what would you say to someone who is thinking about working with me but is not 100% sure?
I would say that it's definitely worth doing. I think, I mean, before I started, I mean, I wanted to do it, but I wasn't 100% sure on how much things could actually change or improve. I think because I'd always been quite set in my ways, and the way I manage it is fine. I haven't got diabetes or whatever, therefore, I'm coping. Um, but actually doing this has made me take a whole different view on it and made me realize that the ways I wasn't managing it. Um, but now I am, and I'm able to make healthy, nutritious choices, and I'm able to, I say, go about with sort of confidence in what I'm eating, and it's been really sort of transformative, um, in how I look at things and my relationship with food and my relationship with exercise and all of that sort of stuff, and just generally feeling better. So I'd say it's definitely, put into perspective often how one isn't managing and how you can sort of kid yourself into thinking that you are. So it's definitely worth doing.